I spent like a whole week or more attempting to build this workbench, but that didn't quite pan out. So, in desperate need of a win and completely out of spoons, I decided to make my own. Spoons, that is. So, here I'm removing the bark from all the future spoons. I have a single log split into these three pieces. One is half a log, and the other are 2/4. And here you see me embarking in a useless endeavor. I'm attempting to plane the rest of the heartwood away so I can sketch the spoon on the half, but I should have just used the draw knife. Good idea, bad execution. Blood, sweat, and tears, man. So once all the spoons were stripped and sketched, I used a handsaw to cut these little notches for the shoulder of the spoon. This functions as a stop cut and mostly prevents me from going too far when I use the draw knife. And I would just like to say, it may look like I'm suffering throughout this video with my work holding situation. If you think that, you would be absolutely correct. But just remember, it was much, much worse before I built this little situation I've got going on here. On this porch, we are appreciative for what we have. This wood also has all these knots that are making my life super hard. Before I start using it, I wanted to show off the sheath I made for my carving knife a while back. I love the sound it makes. So I'm just using it here for a second, just to do a little more refined shaping before I go to carve the scoops of the spoons. Now I'm just showing off some of the spoons before I go and actually make them spoons. Currently, they're more like spatulas, I guess. Friends, this is what separates the spoons from the spatulas, the lids from the ladles. I'm going in and using a set of gouges to carve out the scoop. It's really starting to look like a functional spoon now, not just some weird paddle spatula thing. Oh wait, this part is satisfying. Next, I'm busting out the carving knife again and moving on to the final shaping. And approximately 9,000 years later, and we have spoons with relatively smooth heads and relatively smooth butts. Here they are, all rough carved. And, surprise, a fourth spoon! I cut the handle from one and decided to use it to make a teensy tiny little spoon. It's my favorite I've carved so far, but don't tell the others. I ran them through the gauntlet of sandpaper, and finally it was time to put some finish on. For these spoons, I'm doing an olive oil and beeswax finish. I did 3 coats of oil and then a couple coats of beeswax. I polished them after by hand with about a million different types of microfiber cloths. I had to take a couple days off before I could finish the spoons because my hands weren't doing so good. But here they are. Aren't they beautiful? Here is a man with more spoons and confidence than he had before. Thank you for watching.